Good afternoon, ladies and gentlemen. This is Robert Chappell, Executive Editor, Madison365, with your daily update for Sunday, November 22nd. I am in a slightly better mood than usual today. I am a little bit skeptical of the numbers I'm going to give you today, only because because journalists are skeptical by nature, right? The old saying is, if your mother says she loves you, get a second source. So I'm always a little bit skeptical, but the numbers we're looking at today um, are better, noticeably better, just today. But also, it continues a trend of better numbers for the past 7 days, which makes me really hopeful. At the same time, I know how things are in the world, and I know people are still having parties, and people are still planning to go to Thanksgiving, and people are still traveling all over the place. So I'm hoping that these numbers are not just a reflection of a shift in testing or a shift in data collection that we're not aware of, and that maybe these numbers aren't as real as I want them to be. But I'm going to go with it. I'm going to go with these decent, better numbers today, and just be hopeful and be optimistic. As always, if you have any questions as we go, drop them in the comments. We'll get through the numbers, and then we'll take some questions and note a couple other sort of newsy type items as we go along here. So today, as noted in the scroll at the bottom of the screen, is the lowest number of cases we've reported since November 2nd, which isn't that long ago, not quite through 20 days, so just under 3 weeks ago. But 3,507 is the number of cases we have today. Now, it is a lower number of tests today also, but not that much lower, right? What we're looking at today is just under 15,000 tests, 14,899 tests reported today. That's not a process today, it's reported today, okay? Yesterday we had almost 18,000. We've been in the 19 to 20,000 range. With the exception of this past Monday, we only reported 12,000. But that's coming off of a weekend. Sunday, Monday are typically lower tests. So, we're at almost 15,000 tests and only 3,507 cases. That it's depressing that this is good news. It's depressing that 3,500 new cases is good news. Well, let's just be honest about that. But it is, and we can't pretend it's not good news, that our positive test rate for the day is 29.7%, which is bad. It's really high. It's really high. 29.7% is really high. But it's lower than it was yesterday. And that's good news. Our 7-day positive test rate, which is really the better measure, like for all these reasons I've said, like lower testing, we might be testing different people, different types of people might be getting tested. So you never want to hang your hat on just one day. But the 7-day positive test rate is 30.6, which is the same as it was yesterday, which is almost 6 full percentage points lower than it was a week ago. So a week ago it was 36.4, was for the previous 7 days leading up to November 15th. Right? So the previous 7 days leading up to November 15th, it was 36.4. Now, the 7 days leading up to today, it's 30.6. Still high, still bad, but headed in the right direction. And that's what has me a little bit optimistic today. Thank you for checking on each other's audio capabilities in the comments on Facebook. I appreciate it. I double checked today that I unmuted myself, because I've had that problem before where I forget to click the little button to unmute myself. Okay. Okay, but the number of active cases corresponds to the number of total of new cases, right? A little bit, and that when the number of new cases goes down, the number of active cases also goes down typically. So that's went down to 75,000, which is, again, headed in the right direction. Yesterday it was 75,900. Today it's just over 75,000, and that's about 21% of the total cases. Our total case count right now is 354,677. Yesterday, about 22% of all cases were active. Today is 21%. Again, headed in the right direction. Now, deaths are a little bit weird today, because you might have seen other outlets report 0 deaths. There were actually 6 fatalities today. I can tell you where they were. One each, kind of spread out in Milwaukee, Marathon, Lafayette, Kenosha, Crawford, and Barron counties. But then there were also 6 previously reported deaths that were taken out of the data. And I don't know what this is about exactly. Often it's just somebody was classified as having died of COVID, and then there was a question, or that they hadn't fully been confirmed yet, or like it didn't have the right signature on it. So they'll actually take it out of the data, and then a day or two later, that death is back in the data. Or sometimes it's just an honest mistake that somebody checked the wrong box on the online system or whatever. So today, Waupaca County actually is listed as negative 4 deaths, meaning 4 deaths that they've reported previously are now no longer considered COVID deaths. Fond du Lac County also took one out, and Taylor County took one out. Taylor County also is reporting negative 35 cases, meaning they have reported 35 COVID cases that they are now rescinding. And then Kenosha County is in the same situation, 21. Now, I don't think those are real numbers. And this is what has me a little bit holding my breath about the optimism, because also Waupaca County, taking those 4 deaths off the data, also have 0 cases today, which is unusual. So what that tells me is it's a Sunday. The data that we're getting is not entirely complete, probably. That's not a reason to not trust the data. In fact, these small adjustments, make me trust the data more. Because what you're seeing is, one death out of 3,005, or even 4 deaths, it doesn't meaningfully move the needle, really. Or 35 cases doesn't really move the needle a great deal statewide. But even those tiny little errors or variances are being corrected, which means a lot of people are very diligently working every day to make sure that the data is correct, even still checking data from 3, 4, 5 days ago to make sure that's all correct and adjusting when it's not. Okay, so don't read too much into that, except that it is a Sunday, and we might not be getting a full picture of all the data today. So the fact is that our total death count remains 3,005. We have 6 deaths reported. Now, last weekend, I mentioned this yesterday, weekend death reporting is typically lower than during the week, just because there's so many people that have to sign off on it. There's a lot of paperwork that has to happen for it to be classified as a COVID death, right? And that just doesn't happen as much on the weekends. So last weekend, we had 12 on Saturday and 12 on Sunday. This weekend, we had 51 on Saturday and essentially 0 on Sunday. So last weekend we had 24 deaths reported over the weekend, and this weekend we still have 51. 57, actually, minus 6 that had been previously reported. So, again, the lower number of deaths, I'm not concerned about at all. That doesn't give me hope, really. I don't think death rates are going to come down. I think what will happen is we'll have 6 deaths reported today. I think we'll have a large number Tuesday, Wednesday. Like last week when we had started to see, when did we see 92 last week? That was the 17th, which would have been Tuesday last week. We saw 92. I would expect a similar number to that on this coming Tuesday. I think the low number of deaths reported today is just a data thing. But again, the other numbers, the spread numbers, the numbers about new cases, positive test rate, those kind of numbers, the fact that our 7-day positive case rate, a 7-day average of new cases is 6,320, which is like 100 lower than it was yesterday. I like that. That feels good. The fact that I'm gonna show you what this looks like on this chart here, and this I'm gonna share this chart on my screen. Give me 1 second here. Okay, you see this? Like, look at this downward thing. This is a week ago, the 12th. This is 10 days ago. We kind of peaked at 36.4 on the positive test percentage. But look at how quickly this has come down over the past week or so. I like the look of that. I can't tell exactly what happened here, except that I did check Stephanie when Stephanie was running the data earlier today. We looked at the movement statistics. University of Wisconsin is keeping track of movement statistics. People, it's like they're using smartphone data to see how much people are moving around. And there was a week or so, like right in here, like early to mid-November, where it looked like, it's a little bit hard to read. It's a little bit hard to extrapolate too much from a small data sample, but it looked like for that period of time, people were moving around less in Wisconsin, generally speaking. Not everywhere in Wisconsin. There's a couple spots in Wisconsin where people are still moving quite a lot. But right around here, people are moving a little bit less. Problem is, on these dates, people are starting to move more again. So that, there's always a bit of a lag, right? So less movement could turn this around, but then more movement could take another week. We could be headed back up in another week. It's also possible. It's also possible that people are really taking this seriously, and there's enough of us. Like, there's a lot of people who aren't still, right? A lot of people are still having parties and still doing events and stuff. But there's a lot of folks who are going back to that hunker down mindset that we had in March and April, right? Try to go shopping anywhere. All the toilet paper's gone again, right? There's delays on shipping. There's limit 1 per customer of bottled water, that kind of stuff. So that tells me that some number of people are going back into that hunker down mindset, and maybe enough people have done that it actually has turned the corner a little bit, at least temporarily. It's also possible that there's a whole bunch of people who said, you know what, we're going to be good for 2 weeks, and then we're going to go to Thanksgiving. Because if we're good for 2 weeks, then we can go to Thanksgiving. And that is really flawed, unfortunately. I don't think that's going to work. So it's possible that this is a very temporary thing as people are just sort of preparing for Thanksgiving, right? Now, let's see any other numbers we need to talk about today. Then we'll get to some of your comments and questions. If you have any questions, drop them in there. I'm gonna address some of your comments, which are good. No, I think I got all the numbers today. I'm going to check on Yeah, once again, the highest number of cases per 100,000 are all in very rural counties. Jackson today has 424 new cases per 100,000 residents. Dunn County is second at 236. So that's a big drop off between first and second. Then after that is Douglas, Trempealeau, Florence, Washburn, Burnett, Polk, Clark, Monroe, Lincoln, Chippewa, Richland, Juneau, Oneida, Ashland, Rusk, Adams, Crawford, Sawyer. Eau Claire is the first one you get to that could be considered. Eau Claire's a pretty decent sized town, I guess. Pierce, St. Croix, Rock is the next one that would be more urban. But yeah, the highest spread right now, even on a day with lower overall cases, the most cases in this day, on a day like today, that's lower numbers. It's still the counties that are hit hardest are the most rural. So keep that in mind as you're making your plans. A couple things I'll mention. Paula says we needed good news, but can't roll back being safe. That's absolutely right. Here's the problem. You know how when you get like an ear infection or strep throat or something, they give you 10 days worth of antibiotics, and they say you have to take all 10 days, even if you start to feel better. That's where we were back in March. That's where we are right now, still. Like, if things are starting to get better, that doesn't mean, oh, good, we can let up. Like, we're on day 3 of our antibiotics, right? You have an ear infection, you're taking your medicine. 3 days in, you start to feel better. Your ear starts to hurt less. You still got to finish the medicine, right? That's where we're still at. Elizabeth says, I worry about advertising spike. I do too. I really do. I really anticipate that there will be one. I think, as I said yesterday, we should start to see it about the 1st of December, if there's going to be one. We did not see a big spike after the election back in April. We didn't see a big spike from protests in June. We didn't see a big spike from Trump rallies exactly, except it doesn't seem like maybe Marathon County did see a little bump from those just because there were so many. And they were just so unmasked, right? But Rock County doesn't seem to have gotten a big bump from that Trump rally in Janesville. It seems like the outdoor ones didn't have a big effect. We are seeing spread from indoor gatherings, small indoor gatherings, not even big ones, but small ones. So that's what makes me really worried about Thanksgiving. This is a great question, and I don't have an answer. If you guys have any theories about this, don't understand hoarding bottled water. Do people's faucets not work? Or is there so much bad water in the system? I think Wisconsin water is generally pretty good. I don't know either. I'm old enough to remember after 9/11, we all hoarded water and canned goods because we were like legitimately, it's sort of a just in case society collapses kind of thing, which is, even in retrospect, looking back at that, it's a little bit silly. I think it's a little bit psychological that you feel like. I think it's kind of, this whole thing feels like we don't have any control over it. So one thing I can control is how much stuff I have, right? So it's like I want to do something. So the thing I'm going to do is shop and stock up. And here's the other thing. The other reason to hoard is the wrong word, but I'm definitely stocking up on a lot of stuff because not because I'm worried. Not because I'm worried that I'm going to run out or that my faucets won't work or anything like that, but because I don't want to go shopping very often. Like if I get to myself where I'm going to a store once a month, that's what I want to do. So that's for me. That's the decision to stock up on things like, paper products, stuff that doesn't go bad, like canned goods. Like I'm seriously buying big supplies. I'm ordering them. I'm not even like, this isn't stuff I need right now. I'm like ordering a month's worth of cans of corn and cans of beans and cans of, garbage bags and toilet papers and paper towels and bottles of water because like my kids love bottled water. I don't. But it's not because I'm going to run out of water or my faucet's not going to work or that society's going to collapse. It's just like I don't want to go to the store if I can help it. So I'm just stocking up to the extent that I can. I understand also not everybody can do that. Not everybody has the privilege to have enough, cash on hand to be able to stock up a month worth of stuff. If you're on EBT or if you're on kind of living paycheck to paycheck, you got to go to the store every week. I'm going to stay out of your way. If you have to go to the store every week because that's how your like budget works and that's how your paycheck works, you don't need me in the store with you, right? I'm going to leave the store to you. I'm going to do my once a month thing and stock up and then stay out of your way because that's the privilege I have. Right? That's my rationale for stocking up on stuff. Margie says I bought 4 weeks worth of Staples the other day, and I for a second I literally thought you meant Staples. Like I was like, oh, you do a lot of fastening. You're putting a lot of papers together. No, 100%. That's exactly what I'm doing too. Okay, that is more or less what I have for you today. It's a Sunday, so we'll keep it a little bit brief. I will mention once again that we have we're doing our year-end fundraiser right now, and something that I accidentally bought like almost probably a year's supply of ketchup. And I ordered it online on Costco. I got like an extra thing of it, so I have like 6 massive bottles of ketchup right now. And I also bought a big thing of gummy bears. I thought it was a box of small bags of gummy bears, but it was just a big bag of gummy bears, like one big 6-pound bag of gummy bears. I do not need that much gummy bears. Anyway, so I want to talk a little bit about us and what we do. I've said this before. I'll say it again. You guys know this, but we are a nonprofit newsroom. And some of you folks who are watching on here, I think, have engaged with this program for the COVID coverage, because I give you the COVID data every day, and maybe aren't as aware of where we come from. But I just want to mention one thing kind of from history that I thought about today that I should have mentioned before to you guys. And that is that we are, if you support us, you're supporting literally award-winning journalism, right? We, it's one hates to brag, obviously, but I want you to know that when you make a donation, you're supporting a legit professional news organization. Okay, we're legit nonprofit. We've been nonprofit since the start 5 years ago. So your donations are tax deductible, and right now they're matched also. So any donation you make, News Match doubles it, and then the DEI fund triples it. So now to the end of the year, now till we get $7,000, which we're about $1,000 away from right now, your donation is tripled. So if you make a donation today, it'll be tripled. If you make a donation later in the week, it'll probably be doubled because we're going to make that $7,000 goal pretty soon. But what I want to mention is for those who don't know, who haven't been with us, who are maybe newer to Madison365 because of the COVID stuff. I just want to mention that we are a member of a nationwide organization called Local Independent Online News Publishers. That's Lion Publishers. Lion stands for Local Independent Online News. This sort of local online independent journalism is kind of a movement. It's kind of a thing that's happening all across the country as newspapers are having a hard time. This isn't just COVID. This is like the past 10, 15 years. Local newspapers have been having a hard time, been laying off journalists, and those journalists are starting up their own local news online operations, right? So there's about 350, 400 members of this organization called Lion Publishers. And last year, we actually won 2 of their awards. We won Best Breaking News Coverage. If you might remember, February 2019, a teacher at Whitehorse Middle School. What's the word? Assaulted, maybe kind of a strong word, but was violent with a student. Actually pulled out 3 braids from her hair. But it was a white teacher and a black student. And none of the other news outlets in town wanted to do that story until they could see the surveillance video. And we actually did the reporting. We did the sort of shoe leather type reporting, and it took us 2.5 days, but we verified the identity of the teacher. We talked to the mom, we talked to the police, we talked to everybody, and we published the story, and broke that story. And that it was an important story, obviously, just for the Madison Metro School District, but also that ended up winning us that award for best breaking news coverage. But then also in 2019, we were named Publisher of the Year, just for the general work we did all year long, amplifying the voices of communities of color in Madison and across Wisconsin. So it was really, it's nice. We don't do it for awards, obviously, but we do it because it's important, but it's nice to be recognized by your peers and by, the judges of that were like heavy hitters in journalism nationwide. So that was really nice. But the reason to bring it up is to let you know that that's the kind of thing your donation supports. It's legit, professional, award-winning journalism, and we're very proud of that. And I hope that you would be proud to be part of that, by giving us $10 or $20 or $50 or how much you can afford. Again, all of this journalism that we do is always going to be free for everybody because we think it's important. It's important that you have this coronavirus information every day to make decisions about whether to go to Thanksgiving or not. It's important for you to, when you're calling your mom, to say, I'm sorry, I can't come to Thanksgiving because I listened to Rob Chappell and I know how bad it is. That's important for you to know. It's also important for you to know what your elected officials are up to. It's important for you to know what the business community is up to. It's important for you to know when there's a new business near you that you can support. All those things are important for you to know without having to pay for it. So again, I talked about how I have certain privileges that I use to help other people to stay out of the way. If you have the privilege of $10 extra, you can help us keep this free for somebody who doesn't have that extra $10. And your $10 today becomes $30. Next week, your $10 becomes $20. Like it's a really simple program. It really is. We tell them how much we raised. They cut us a check for that amount. That's it. So again, I appreciate your time. It is Madison365.org/donate. I'll put a link in the comments. And hit that. Throw us a few dollars. We'd really love it. Otherwise, I will, again, we'll be back tomorrow. I would expect coronavirus numbers to be low again tomorrow, just because they typically are on Monday, and then probably higher on Tuesday. Let's cross our fingers. Let's hold our breath a little bit and hope that these numbers continue to go the way they are. If we all continue, hunker down, do Thanksgiving by Zoom, we're all in this together. We can do this together. If we keep doing it, those numbers will continue to go down, and let's hope that happens. So I appreciate, again, your time very much, and I hope you all have a wonderful evening, and we'll see you tomorrow.
This is 365 Media.